You know, we're heading into the holiday season here, not too far away. And I don't know, for many of us, it can be kind of a stressful situation. Relatives from out of town come in, and sometimes they stay longer than expected. And sometimes they leave sooner than expected because family things just seem to get stirred up. My cousin Ozzy came to visit me last year for one of the holidays. And he stayed with me, and I absolutely love him. But there's always a PS. To whatever he does, whatever he says, you just wait for the other shoe to drop. There's a PS, and it's never, ever comfortable. So a couple of years ago, he came to visit me, and after dinner, he decided he wanted to go down to the Power and Light District to shake it up a bit. He wanted to whoop it up, is what he said. And I said, well, that's fine, but I want you to make sure that you be very, very careful because the police are out doing road checks, trying to find people who are driving while intoxicated. So think smart, be clear, and if the occasion calls for it, take a taxi. That's the safest thing you can do. He said, okay, and off he went. Well, I woke up the next morning, and he was nowhere to be found. And I looked out the front window, and his car wasn't there, and I thought the worst, oh my gosh. I almost was ready to call the local jail, but then I saw a note on the table, and it said, he calls me Cousin Dookie. He said, dear Cousin Dookie, thanks for the good time. Everything was wonderful. And I followed your advice. Last night I went to the Power and Light District, and the occasion called for me to take a taxi. So I did. And on the way home, the taxi went through a police check, but because it was a taxi cab, it wasn't stopped, they just let us pass through. I'm on my way home now, hope to see you soon. And P.S. The taxi's in your garage because I forgot where I took it from. Okay. Look for the taxi on the church's next auction, all-church auction. You'll be able to pick it up cheap. Anyway, today I'm going to talk about happiness. And happiness isn't the ball game, so to speak. Of all the emotions, it's important, but so is sadness, and so is all sorts of other, even depression at times can be helpful. All emotions are good. But somehow, some way in our culture and with our lifestyle, our happiness seems to be dwindling down. It's not getting its fair share. And happiness is extremely important to our physical, our mental, our emotional, and our spiritual health. We were wired to be happy. We need that release once in a while. Not all the time, but we need it once in a while. Now, a recent survey was done where it was discovered that 2/3 of the people in America are not overall happy with their life. 2/3. That's 6 people out of 10. Or 1 out of 3 people are happy overall with their lives. And so the question is why? What is disturbing that? Why can't we have a level of happiness like many of the other countries in the world? On the happiness chart, we come in at 17 of the happiest people in the world. Well, one of the things is that we sometimes feel stuck with our problems and our challenges. We don't like them, we resist them, we do battle with them, but we really don't stop and figure out how we can move beyond them. And no matter what is going on in your life, whether it's a relationship problem, a financial problem, a health problem, or whatever it might be, we always have 3 choices we can make. And the first is, whatever the situation is, we can just remain in it. We don't have to do anything. We can continue to suffer if that's what it calls for. So we just continue on doing what we've always done. And oftentimes in relationships, this can get very, very deteriorating of one's outlook on life. The second option is we can do what we can to fix it. Throw ourselves into it and come up with a solution or come up with a way where we can move beyond that which is hampering our peace of mind and our sense of happiness. And then the third thing is to just walk away. Say, I'm through with this, I don't need it in my life. It's been a wonderful chapter, but I'm moving on to what lies next. So we can do nothing, we can fix it, or we can walk away from it. Those three options always persist, no matter what. Now, when it comes to our happiness, one of the major influences is the environment in which we live. It has an incredible effect on how happy we are, an incredible effect on how healthy we are. An environment is the people that you surround yourself with. It's your home, it's your workplace, it's your church. It's wherever you go and whatever you're doing at any given time, that is the environment. And if you're in an environment that is not supportive of you, if you're in an environment that doesn't feel good one way or another, where the people aren't open and loving to you, that is going to lessen the happiness that you feel, not only in that moment, but going forward. There was a study being done with rodents. In this particular research place, they were determining the effect that drug addiction had on the rodents. They were put in this cage. And there's two bottles of water. One was pure water, and the other one was water that was laced with heroin. And the rodents drank out of both bottles, but after a while they preferred the one that was laced with heroin. And they would drink it and drink it and drink it until they became addicted to it, and many of them overdosed. 95% of the rodents overdosed because they got hooked on heroin. Well, a very compassionate researcher came up with the idea that maybe we could solve this addiction problem if we put them in a different environment. So he took them out of their dingy little cage that was sitting on a concrete floor that was dirty and messy, and he fixed up a very nice, almost like a rodent playground, where all sorts of different things they could do. It was nice, it was kept clean. And what they discovered is that all but 5% of the rodents quit drinking the water that was laced with heroin and just went back to regular water, which proved that the environment was such that they didn't need any sort of outside stimulation coming in to help them be happy. Now, every alcoholic knows that just before they take that last drink, that their environment is probably not a good one. The people they're hanging around with probably aren't the best. The living conditions at home might not be good. The job may or may not have one. But immediately after they take that commitment to sober up or to go straight and not do drugs, they find things starting to restore themselves. The environments become better. They have new friends, and they say new playmates, a new playground, on which they go out, and they discover they don't need alcohol to deal with the day-to-day ups and downs of life. Now, in Portugal, had one of the worst drug addiction problems in the entire world. People would get arrested, they would go to jail, they'd get out, they'd do the same thing over and over and over again. And millions of dollars, if not hundreds of millions of dollars, were being put in to facilities to house these people when they get out, if they return to their substance abuse. Well, this guy had read about the deal with the rodents, the research, and how they changed the environment, so he did that with their system. When people came out of prison for drug addiction or some other form that was connected to drugs or alcohol, they had a nice place for them to live in. It was beautiful, their own little apartment. They transferred money or shifted money from trying to fix the problem to giving them something, an environment that they felt good in, that they felt healthy in, and that they could live a normal life in. That is how important environment is. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is because if there's something in your life, whether it's a person at work or in the neighborhood or perhaps in your household, if there's a situation or circumstance that depreciates you, that doesn't make you feel good about yourself, that makes you feel bad, that environment's going to have an effect on you and how you perceive the entire world. So environment is number one. The second thing that we do when it comes to problems, challenges, and setbacks is that we have a tendency to obsess about them. Instead of being a small part of our life, they become our whole life. I know I've held on to problems at times for 3, 4, 5 days, and it turned out they were absolutely nothing. They say only 92% of our problems and challenges ever come to manifest themselves. That means 8% of the challenges we feel and the problems that we experience actually take place, 92% don't. So I was at a wedding and I was sitting next to this woman at the reception. She was a professor at the University of Texas in Houston. And I asked her how she's doing, and the talk started to unfold that she had just come through a very serious bout with breast cancer. And I said, my gosh, how was that? It must have been horrible, I can't imagine. She said it was. She said, when I first discovered that I had breast cancer, she said, I was angry. I mean, I was throwing stuff, mad. I cursed at God. I didn't like anything. And she said, one day I remember coming home from school, and I was sitting at the kitchen table with my partner, and we were playing checkers. And I just got so angry that I took my arm and I threw those checkers all over the floor. And then she said something came over me. She noticed over on the kitchen counter, there's a little pad of sticky notes. So she went and got the sticky notes, and she sat down in front of the checkerboard, and she started putting sticky notes in every single square, and on every sticky note she wrote something that she felt blessed her life. And she went through the entire board of the blessings. These were relatives, there was her job, there were her students, there was her partner. Filled up the entire board with sticky notes of the blessings she was experiencing in her life. And in the very last square, she put cancer. Now, by doing that, she made the commitment, I am not going to spend any more time on myself having cancer as I am on all these other blessings. Then she allowed herself maybe 10 minutes a day to think about it and how she was going to handle it and what she needed to do, but that was it. She didn't obsess over it. She didn't dwell on it. She went about her business. She never missed a day teaching class. She went through and completely recovered. And she said it was primarily because of a daily sense of gratitude that she had for all the things that were around her that she never stopped to take note of. Problems and challenges are a natural part of life. Nobody's ever escaped without them. And when it says that only 1 out of 3 people are overall happy with their life, you can take those same people that have been polled 2 months later, and they probably wouldn't say that, because things change. Today I'm overall happy with my life. Tomorrow something might come into play. I might lose a loved one. I might have some sort of a health problem or a financial problem or whatever. I'm not overall happy with my life because we're focusing on that one small part of it, that one black square. I put that in the front page of your bulletin. It's a mock checkerboard, but you can see down in the very corner that there's a spot that is blacked out. And what I encourage you to do is to write in there, if you can, write in there something that is really bothering you in your life right now. Perhaps it's a relationship, perhaps it's health, finances, whatever it might be. Write that in there and don't pay any more attention to that than you do to everything else that you put down as a blessing in your life. And it doesn't take long. It comes automatically. So as we move into meditation, I invite you just to make yourself comfortable. Think about your life. Think about the time that you spend on problems. Remember, peace is the process. Peace is the priority. And then happiness is a natural emotion we all should experience more of. We'll now move into meditation.